Poisonrana.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Poisonrana. You found us on whatever podcast app you're using, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and we're live, pal.
We are live on youtube.com/@PoisonRanaPod. Hello,
right.
everyone. How we doing?
Yeah, hit that subscribe button on the YouTube. We've totally left Twitch in the dust for now. I mean, for now.
Hey, if anyone wants to pick it up, you're very welcome.
I think it's B Detroit.
Yeah.
I think B is gonna do some streaming, possibly.
Who
for
held down
gaming.
the fort last week. He was
Exactly.
fantastic on this show.
Yes, shout out B Detroit. Shout out What Up Doe on this feed as well with him and John Cena, my new favorite podcast to listen to. The worst thing happened. I got ready for my commute. Podcast came out, downloaded it, put my earpods on, left the house. They died right away. I'm like, man, like I had
hate
it
that.
all ready too. You know, that's just the worst.
I'm
thing.
so like, you know me. I like going on long walks, or if I ever go to the gym or whatever, and I'm like determined, have a good session, like walk miles, whatever. As soon as my headphone dies, I'm like, well, I'm Ubering home. Like I'm not.
Help.
At least
Send help.
At least it used to be like I'd go, oh, I'll go into a Dollarama and pick up some shitty headphones. But now, like, you don't even have headphone jacks
Thanks,
on phones
Apple.
anymore. Thanks.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I'm over it. I'm going home.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this with my. Can't be left with my own thoughts. That's horrible.
Yeah, left with their. We live in downtown Toronto, like downtown, and like our areas, lots of people always busy walking around, and when you don't have like, I leave my headphones on even if they're dead, because that means it's an
People don't
excuse
bother you.
not to talk to someone who's gonna be crazy or something. So, yeah, but it's Sunday. It's a day where we're gonna chat all about some pro wrestling, some graps. It's a beautiful rainy day.
The city is hungover.
The city is beaten.
I think a lot of people are probably going to be grateful for the rain today, because it means, right, I can stay inside, I can nurse this hangover, and do absolutely nothing, get an Uber Eats in or whatever. Because yesterday was pretty big day for Toronto.
That's right. The Maple Leafs have advanced to the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which they have not done in 19 years. The last time this happened, I think I was 2004. I was like 12 or something like that. I was young. I remember we all got to talk about it in school and stuff like that. And that feels like a lifetime ago. So this feels like everyone was just waiting. Yeah. And we live really close to the Scotiabank Arena. Like we can see it out our window right now. And this whole area was insanity. People were ripping off the street signs to keep, and you're gonna see them on eBay today and stuff like that. Because like the whole area, we call it Jurassic Park when it's Raptors, but whatever, the Maple Leaf
Square,
whatever, it's what it's actually called. People were going nuts, and I'm just worried that when the choke finally happens, that the city is not the other way around. So it's not people angry.
No, I mean, I would hope people are used to it by now.
Exactly.
I was working at the bar last night, and normally we have karaoke on a Saturday, and this happened last week as well. We had playoff game, and I went, "Hey, has anyone talked to the karaoke guy and told him to come in later?"
Tell him to fuck off.
And I went, "No, I mean, we'll probably do what we did last week and have like karaoke in the front and sound in the back." And I went, "That is a fucking dumb idea. Like, no one here right now is here for karaoke." Like, and I'm saying this as someone who, likes
Loves
karaoke. I went, and he's like, "Well, it's just, he'll be upset." And I'm like, sorry, we're paying him to do it. He's not paid per song. He's paid per hour. If he just has to chill and watch the end of the game, that's fine. Like, there will be mayhem if you turn the sound off to have someone fucking bleating "Don't Stop Believing."
Yeah.
Like, no. So he's like, okay, fair enough. And then it went to overtime as well, so it started to feel real bad because his game's just dragging on. But it was exciting. It's been like, I'm not a huge sports guy, but I like getting behind a team or a city or whatever, and this series has been pretty fun. It's been all over the place.
It has, ever since like that one game where the Leafs just slayed them. At, like, what, 7 goals or something like that. It was like, wait, okay, maybe there is some sort of a chance. So yeah, Leafs going at. I mean, we eventually got to face Boston, and like, I don't know much about sports, but I am from Toronto. Growing up, Death taxes
I
in
haven't,
Boston
I haven't
beats
been here
Toronto.
long, but I know that. Yeah.
Okay, like Boston always beats.
What I found funny is like we were absolutely slammed because then we filled up from people coming from the game. Like I had suddenly 50 people
The
just
Jays
walk in
too,
and
right?
yeah, like 50 people just walk in right up to the bar and I just went, right lads, I'm not doing individual bills. Like figure it out. I'll do 4 bills. Like who's getting what. And then like people going up and singing, they're acting like they won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I know.
Because they then go up and this one's dedicated to the Maple Leafs. We are the champions. But I was like, okay, we still got like 3 rounds to go. Or something.
It was the first round. It's the first round.
But like, I love it. Like I've been here 7 years now, and you know, saw when the Leafs won. I've been here for some seasons where the Jays. Sorry, when the Raptors won.
Right.
Been here when the Jays have gone pretty far. Like it's always fun in the city when,
It's just a reason for people to get together. And
exactly,
it's
and make me good money.
Yeah,
I love it.
Get the bars going, you know, right? Exactly. The Leafs fans have they've dwindled really. Now they're going to come out of the woodwork again because like the past few years, people are just like, whatever. But then we got Austin Matthews, so this is our secret weapon. Yeah,
your knowledge, your sports knowledge.
My sports knowledge tells me that my Eskimo brother Austin Matthews is gonna win the whole damn thing. Should I get an Austin Matthews jersey now and just completely I threw out my Leafs jersey last year, not because I've
had enough with this team.
It's because I did go to a game a few years ago and I was just out of my mind hammered and got a hot dog on it and just never fully came out of the jersey. So I was like, well, this is just like my Jays jersey.
The way you said that, it's like I'm picturing just a hot dog now stuck to your jersey.
Somehow, yeah. No.
Not the ketchup or the mustard, like literally the hot
all
dog.
Mustard, yeah. Oh, man. No relish, though. Yeah,
fuck that stuff.
So Leafs are in the second round of the playoffs, which Toronto we're excited about that. That's pretty fun. So the city is jumping, which is fun. I like that. I like when people get together. That's why I like wrestling. Brings people together, which is what we did on Thursday night.
It is
as well. Are we gonna?
Well, first of all, I want to say huge announcement. We've got some announcements coming up, so watch this space for that.
Yeah, the biggest announcement that will change the face of
gonna fucking shake you to the core.
Yeah, is that what I'm trying to think of how TK does it on Dynamite and how WWE did it with
that will shake the foundations of pro wrestling forever.
We're gonna shake the foundations.
We're changing the game, guys.
Hey, if you're listening to this is your first little tease here. We are going to shake the foundation of not only Poisonrana, but of post wrestling.
Just the whole wrestling landscape.
This Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Better tune in live to another show. The best show. Rewind a Dynamite. Live on Post Wrestling's YouTube. YouTube.com/Post Wrestling. If not, the audio will be up on the post feed. But there's some big things guanin' over there. And this is your little tease here. If you made it this far, then you'll know to listen in, and we're super excited. And that's not all, because then we have more announcements. And you want another announcement? Well, then there's another announcement.
So many announcements coming up.
You won't even know.
Yeah, we got to make this show. We want bigger numbers for this show, so we're just teasing. It's like next Sunday, Braden Herrington will make a huge announcement.
Huge.
We need to start doing the graphic, don't we?
Yeah, you're gonna use that picture of me like
who's announcing it.
You're gonna use the terrible pictures of me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, huge announcements. Toronto listeners, Toronto area people, for anyone coming into some wrestling in the summer, definitely have your ears and eyes tuned in. And same goes for next month. If you're in the Toronto area, we are going to be doing a Double or Nothing watch party. So look forward to hearing when we're going to put the tickets on for sale in the next week or so for that one as well. So Double or Nothing watch party happening in the city.
We're going to be competing with the AEW All In at Wembley ticket. You're going to have to make a choice, guys. Are you going to Wembley or are you coming to a Double or Another watch party?
Well, we will be doing something for Wembley, hopefully,
Absolutely.
as well. So, lots of stuff going on over with just everything in the summer.
Did you see some tickets actually went on sale this week by accident? So first, I believe it was actually Steph who managed to catch that seating plan, the seating chart with all the prices.
Okay.
Which she screenshotted and tweeted out, so people have an idea of what the prices are for Wembley. But I believe was it Thursday? There was like an accidental pre-sale that some people were able to get tickets. Some have been already refunded, others not. So yeah. And now they've cut off the pre-sale like application thing. So I got emailed my personal code. They're doing personal codes this time, other than, normally it's like type in AEW VIP to get the pre-sale. They're doing like individual, unique personal codes, which is interesting. But I think over 60,000 people have signed up. So I think this is going to be a huge week of sales for the Wembley show.
All just for one big house show and for the pay-per-view to be the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
Next week, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy though. I'm super happy with the way like those numbers are coming out. Like, the demand has been high for a big show over there. WWE hasn't done it. Like they could have done a Mania there, and they haven't done. They've done that Clash of the Castle, but this is a lot bigger and could rock the boat over there with seeing the visual of that many people in a spectacle. Super excited.
We know people traveling. I've got friends from the States who are traveling in for it. Our friend and listener from Denmark, Emil, should be coming over for it as well. Hope he went home this weekend.
Shout out Emil.
We got him a little fucked up on Thursday.
Yeah, you guys listen. We're actually really nice people, and
we're bad influences.
But we're bad influences. Yeah, we have a listener from Denmark who was basically an exchange student over here, in his mid-20s, and he was like, "Hey, does anyone? I'm moving to Toronto for a few months." He ended up we ended up helping him like find places to live with certain websites and rent places. Then he went to Montreal, linked up with you for the Elimination Chamber. Then here we had him over for Dynamite and did some watch parties and just became a little bit of a friend over here. And all because he was just a listener who was like, "Hey, I'm from Denmark and I now live here." So he just went back to Denmark today. Yes. So shout out Emil.
Shout out Emil.
He's listening somewhere.
I wish we've talked about this before, but there's a bar we go to in the city that does oyster shooters, and I wish I got a video of Emil doing this oyster shooter. It's like it's like a mini Caesar, so like vodka with a little bit of Tabasco, a little bit of Clamato juice, and then you shoot it, and then you have an oyster
right away
to chase.
You hold the oyster comes on top of it, like in the shell, shucked, and then you hold both. Yeah.
And I think Emil was concerned about the shot, and I also don't think he's ever had an oyster, so it was a pretty wonderful combination to watch.
So he does the shot with us, and he's like, like a shot, okay, and then sees us do the oyster right away. So he goes to do that, and then I thought he was gonna puke.
Yeah,
he didn't. He held his own. But yeah, oysters, not for everyone.
No. He had a second one, though.
He did. The second one went down easier, I think. Yeah, for sure.
No, so that was good fun. But we got a lot going on. We have, obviously, weekly our upNXT review on the post-wrestling feed, where we're talking about NXT. We had our Spring Breakin' review come out this week, which they did pretty good numbers this week. Up in the demo and a pretty good number for NXT. Interesting show, especially with the draft around the corner, and Indy Hartwell spotted on Raw. Obviously, we're going to talk about the draft, but wearing a boot, so I imagine she's probably going to be out for a little bit of time.
Let's draft the injured person.
Well, it makes it easier to drop the title from her, I guess.
Which we probably will see this Tuesday night. I imagine we'll see some. There already is a women's tag team title match against Kaden and Katana.
Okay.
Indy, I'm assuming, drops the title. JD is having his farewell match against Dragon Lee.
Oh, did McDonough get drafted?
JD got drafted as well.
We should get into that in that bit. Yeah.
We will get into the draft for sure. But this Tuesday, you're stepping out. So John Cena is going to join me, and me and him will be talking about this episode, because this is already sounding like a little bit of a stacked episode.
Yeah.
And definitely some fallout from the draft and everything. So Tuesday night on the post wrestling feed, me and Cena will be going live after NXT, and then the audio up on that feed as well.
And then on this very free feed, we've just dropped an episode of What Up, Doe? With John Cena and B Detroit, who this week talking all about the WWE draft and their fantasy draft. Is Is John and B's Raw and SmackDown better
Yeah.
than the Raw and SmackDown we're going to see?
It's tough. I listened to it. Finally, I got charged my AirPods and I listened to it, and I was like, it's hard to pick. I don't want to give out my choice just left. I gotta let some listeners go, but would also let people know. Sorry, the Facebook group, because we always post like threads and comments, and we're going back and forth. And a lot of the shows we go off on some of the stuff you guys say in there, and I know those guys as well. But the draft was really fun and really the real tough question was the question they ended the show with, was who's a bigger icon, Bob Marley or Michael Jackson? But that's a different conversation for a different day. But great podcast over on that free feed.
I'm going to say Bob.
I would say you love Bob. I love both. So
I mean,
it's
both
really
are huge, but when you say icon,
I don't know.
You see loads more like Bob Marley imagery,
Right.
right? You see him on T-shirts, you see him on murals. Like,
Yeah.
you don't see
It's a
MJ
tough
as
one.
much like
It's
that.
the tough.
Yeah.
So that's a free show on this feed. Shot in the Dark every week as well. Rosino's looking at Level Up, Ring of Honor, all that other wrestling that you may or may not watch. We had a detox out a few weeks ago with myself and Jordan. So all these shows on this feed. But if you want more of us, patreon.com/Poisonrana. We have our Mario Bros movie from 1993 out. We had some WrestleMania reviews out. We did a Best Match Ever Rey Mysterio Part 2, looking at all the outside of WWE stuff. And, well, next week is Backlash in Puerto Rico, which is pretty sweet. I wish we could be there.
It would have been fun, yeah.
So
Maybe next time.
Yeah. Although I was really excited. They announced Vikingo and Kenny for Triple Mania this summer. And I was like, oh, okay, that would be the one to go to. In Tijuana, I just don't trust myself in Tijuana. So I'll wait for the next one. We are going to be looking at a show that happened in Puerto Rico this week over on the Patreon in honor of Backlash next week. We are looking at New Year's Revolution? New Year's Revolution.
From your favorite year in wrestling, 2005. It's the last time they did a pay-per-view there. So we figured it would be a good time to look at this. I've never watched this pay-per-view in my life.
Right. I'm trying to I know it's a chamber.
Okay.
It's a chamber is the main event, right?
Right.
I know William Regal and Eugene are on it. Is there an injury in that pay-per-view, I think, as well? There's like a
Spoilers. Maven's on the show.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Nice.
That means we get to hear Maven's theme, which makes it even better. But yeah, Backlash next week. We'll be talking about it next week on Sunday because the pay-per-view is on Saturday.
Muhammad Hassan versus Jerry Lawler. Wow.
How excited are you?
This sounds great.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking about that next week. We also just put out our review of The Mandalorian Season 3. Which we've been, if you've been following us over the years, we've been covering a whole lot of Star Wars. So finally got around to talk about the latest season of Mandalorian and kind of the future of the Star Wars universe, where we think things are going next, and all the announcements that recently came out.
And Lizzo.
Yep.
Jack Black.
Lizzo and Jack Black and
Grogu.
Doc Brown.
And Bin Laden.
Yep.
Sorry, Bin Jarin.
Yep.
What's his name?
Bin Jarin.
So yeah, that was some other shows.
Bin Laden's on this lawsuit we're going to talk about in a second.
We'll be talking about him briefly. So yeah, lots of shows over on there. We're going to be putting out the May schedule because I know we have some other ideas. Obviously, this New Year's resolution show coming out this week, but we have some other things cooking up. I can't remember what they are right now, but we'll be dropping that soon. So follow the socials. It's only $5, guys, to become a friend over there, to become a friend of the show on our Patreon. You get access to all the Patreon podcasts in that catalog. It's only $5.
And if you want to join the top tier and become a family member for $25, you get to pick what you want us to talk about, and you get to come on and chat with us. And Jared Black just cashed in his Up Yours pick and was like, hey, my girlfriend and I recently binge watched all of Succession. We love the show The Sesh, and we want to come on there to talk about Succession with you. So just had Jared join me last week to talk about episode 5 of the final season of Succession. And I'll be joined by Rich Fan this coming week to talk about episode 6.
Awesome. So yeah,
You're almost caught up now, aren't you?
Yeah, I just have to watch season 4 or whatever's happened so far. So yeah, I'll be catching up this week for sure on that one. I think I'll make it. Maybe for like the second last or something like that, maybe, or last one.
You've got
you've got
for a month pretty much to catch up before the finale.
I say, therefore I am. It is what I say.
Although the finale is happening the same time as Battleground and Double or Nothing.
No,
That's all at the same time.
no, it can't
Are
be.
we gonna like what's a tri-cast
Oh,
of all three? Like,
oh,
yeah,
no.
I'm not particularly concerned about Battleground spoilers. I'm looking forward to the show, but I'm not concerned about spoilers for that. But man, staying spoiler free for the finale of Succession. Oh boy,
Tough. Okay.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, the Sesh is a show over on the Patreon as well, so go check that out. And hey, we appreciate you listening, even to these free shows, because we love you people.
Well, now let's get into this week in pro wrestling, and we're starting with the lead story here. Demand Lucha.
All right, this is because we went there
Yeah.
this week on Thursday night. We went to Demand Lucha, and anyone who's been listening to us, which is a few listeners who now go, a lot of listeners are saying hi to us at these shows.
It was packed this week.
Oh man, this was great. Honestly, we just started going to these shows and started having so much fun, and that's just our honest review of it. And we always go out of those shows just being like, that was a blast. So would highly recommend looking up Demand Lucha as their next show, especially anyone in town for the Hamilton show.
Yep.
After the night after the Hamilton show in Toronto, the Thursday, they're doing a show, and Vikingo's been announced. Brian Cage is on it. Speedball is on it. Like, this show is going to be
Gringo's
crazy.
still defending.
Yeah, Gringo's still champ. So, like, honestly, this one's going to be just an absolute banger. And we will be there. John Pollock, we dragged him
He's
to
a
this
regular
show.
now.
Now he fell in love with it,
Yeah.
right? He just, like...
It's just such a great atmosphere. Like, they absolutely packed this hall, Parkdale Hall, which I think is a great setting for it. The acoustics there are amazing. It sounds like you're there, and it just sounds like the hottest product. And we went to a GCW show recently, and I enjoy this so much more. They've got some great talent. We've started to like really start to enjoy some of the local talents.
Yep.
One of the like Lucha doctors had his first match ever. He's normally just a manager at ringside, and he wrestled this week. And then we're like, he's fucking jacked, and he was really good.
Like Jose.
Yeah. So that was good. We had Gangrel. We got to
Gangrel.
dance to Gangrel's theme.
Yeah, hearing the
which was
Brood
pretty cool.
theme, dancing as he spit blood. That
Yeah.
was cool. Honestly, like, the wrestling's always good. They always have, like, a mixture of, like, some indie dudes from the States and GCW talent, and then, like, some local talent, and it's just always a fun time. And then, like, your imports of some Lucha guys. The main event was originally Commander versus Gringo, and then they said Commander couldn't make it, but then he showed up anyways to join the match. So it was Arez versus Gringo versus Commander. But then, kind of like halfway through the match, Commander kind of looked like he got hurt. So there hasn't been anything official.
It was the moonsault to the outside,
Right?
And he landed awkwardly, and you saw him like limp to the back. It was very like the Indy Hartwell, like spot this week, where goes to the back, and then you're going, all right, is this a work or is it not? And then he came back and tried to wrestle, but then left, and it just ended up the singles match between Arez and Gringo, which felt like it ended a little suddenly as well.
Yeah, but I hope he's okay.
So I hope he's okay, because that would suck. Like, it seems like, okay, they said travel issues, but it seems like maybe he was pulled because of signing with AEW, and then it might have been like, you've got this prior commitment, go ahead and do it. And if he got injured from it, that would really suck. But really, really great show. I had a great time. It was awesome. We met Bruce Lord and his brother Graham
post wrestling,
which was great to meet him, have some whiskeys, and I can't recommend this show enough.
Okay, so, like, we've been going to wrestling shows. We've been going to these Demand Lucha shows for quite a while. And again, we will be at the next one. Can't recommend it enough because the next one's stacked. But we are watching this match with, like, one of the bad guy doctor things versus Space Monkey, who's like a local. He's in the States too, a bunch, and he's pretty funny, but he's also a really good wrestler. And the bad guy's manager gets involved. They take out a ref, and then they take out another ref. And we're watching this. And our friend, Big Tom, who's a security guard at this place, all of a sudden gets inside the ring and takes out the bad guys. Me and you.
He tries to put on the ref shirt, and he's
fit.
huge,
He's huge,
so he's like, whatever.
And then, like, clothesline, JBL clothesline from hell. Stan Hansen's this guy, and then is about to, like, double choke slam two wrestlers, and then, like, stops. we lost our minds. He's our friend and like knew we were there, but like he said they asked him, hey, you want to do this spot? And he didn't tell us.
Yeah.
So our reaction was just me screaming. We have it on video and everything. It's just so funny because he's just our buddy. So seeing this,
he gets slapped by Novocaine and his glasses break and go flying.
Oh my god!
And
I hope he's wrestling now. Like the storyline wise, he's wrestling with.
I'm not sure because we saw him after and we're like, go and give him a hug, and he's like, ooh, and it's like, what happened? He's like, I threw my back out making the pin. So he tried to do, the Charles Robinson, the graceful leap to the mat to count the 1, 2, 3, and threw his back out. So I don't know if we'll be seeing him wrestle. But yeah, I got emotional. I was like, man, that's our boy.
Yeah.
The real Hank and Tank.
Yeah. The real Hank storyline. It's the security guard turned. Like all we need is him to hit the choke slam and the lariat again, and that's it. He doesn't need to do anything else.
Nice. I think it was like a short arm lariat.
Yeah,
it was really nice.
I mean, Big Tom's big, so
I mean, he's bigger than all the wrestlers there.
Yeah, yeah. So it was just a moment. So if he does wrestle a match, we know someone now at Cage Match that can get him on there.
Yeah, we need that Cage Match page for Big Tom. And that's got to be his name.
That's got to be his name. There's no discussion.
But it's also, there are so many regulars at this thing who probably don't know Tom, but have seen him do security there for the last year or so at these shows. I mean, it's hard to miss this guy. He's huge and bald. Like
we love Tom.
So the crowd, he got genuinely one of the biggest pops of the night.
Because think about it.
Like, it was Commander returning, and it was Big Tom.
Yeah, because think about it. Like, these indie shows, it's the story. There's not much storyline in indie wrestling, right? But the fact that, like, we had the bad guys teaming up on a good guy, instant crowd reaction.
Yeah.
Then we had the bad guys beat up a ref, instant crowd reaction. Then you had all of a sudden the security guard who has been working security of the show the whole time. He's been there the whole time. All of a sudden to step in, it's like came out of nowhere and genuinely like Shaw. It was just so funny. And even our John Pollock was like, "Hey, that was awesome, congratulations!" And he's like, "That was better than the whole even doing it." Like Pollock saw me get in the ring. He's like, "Look at that!" So wow, what a day, what a night. Demand Lucha, honestly, can't say enough good things about it.
I thought Sam Adonis really stood out as well. Like his heel work is, he really knows how to like get the crowd.
Corey Graves' brother, right?
Yeah. No, good stuff. Well, that was Demand Lucha. Again, really recommend going there. We'll be at every show. But it's another week of wrestling, which means another week of CM Punk news. And he was making quite the stir this week. We talked about it briefly on Tuesday, how he appeared backstage at Monday Night Raw, since some details have come out that he, was on a flight apparently with some wrestlers, and they invited him back, and he was there the whole time, like basically kind of in catering and open view. Seemed to make amends with the Miz.
Nice.
Had a bit of a chat with Triple H. And then I don't know, is it the apology tour continues? Has that meeting with Jericho that we've heard about? It does sound like they're gonna work together. Not much news has really come out in regards of what was said or what's happened, but it seems like they're moving forward and at least amicable. And then continues the tour by going to Impact and just chilling out backstage at Impact. So
this dude's going everywhere where he doesn't work.
Yeah. But so what's going on?
Yeah. Also, did he have a meeting with Triple H and saw Triple H's beautiful shaved head and glorious facial hair and went, I should look like that, and then went home and took a razor to his head?
I've not even seen this.
He's bald right now.
Is he? We've seen him bald before.
Yeah,
he switches his look up.
Yeah. I like when he switches his look up. It's just so weird. So this guy, again, we can't keep his name out of all our mouths because he's been everywhere. He's saying sorry all around the world today. This is basically what it is. The Summer of Punk Apology Tour 2023. Put that on a shirt if it's not already.
So yeah, who's he got next? Like,
well, he said sorry to the Miz. He has in interviews been like, oh, Roman Reigns is now amazing. So I feel like he already has that thing, like that bridge is fixed or whatever. But
I think he's seeing Colt Cabana's mum in June.
Penciled her in.
Yeah. The Bucks are sometime in November or December or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like rumors and stuff going around. Some people are saying maybe this is like, an anger management thing that he's being like told to kind of make amends. It seems like it was a surprise to AEW. No one in AEW knew that he was going to be appearing backstage at Raw.
Right.
It's not like this is the first time WWE has been in Chicago, like since he's left. You know, it is interesting and it is a step forward, but it is also something that I can see pissing off a lot of the AEW roster as well. It's like, shouldn't you be trying to maybe make amends with us before you're making amends with The Miz?
Yeah, very true. I imagine when he does come back, like if this whole collision thing is legit and happening at the United Center, then like that's the return. I'd call it the next dance.
Yeah.
If they wanted that. It is weird. You'd hope that he has made amends with people and kind of keeping the curtain somewhat closed purposely, because it's, this is wrestling. It's still a work and stuff. But...
So the talks are, I think they're planning to officially announce this Collision Saturday show kind of mid-May. I think the 17th off the top of my head is then like a press meeting kind of thing.
Okay.
And by the sounds of it, it's going to be Punk, FTR, Jericho, and I assume by extension the JAS. But talks about, Dave on the Observer said potential debut / return. Miro's name's been thrown around, so that, I mean, he's been someone I've been wanting to see come back for a long time. Anyone else, like, as far as debuts or returns, do you see? Because I think, at least to start with, they're gonna try and absolutely load this show.
It's just so weird. It's like, this show's gonna get more ratings than Wednesday because it's got Punk and all these. It's got potentially Goldberg or something.
Yeah.
Like who? What are they like? What does that mean? Who's gonna show up or return or whatever? But like, if you're asking what side people are gonna pick, obviously people like us and like hardcore wrestling nerds are gonna watch both shows to definitely at first to see what the hell the difference is. But if you're seeing, they're gonna see, like, people are gonna pick whatever Punk's on over anything else. So like, to say they're leading, like, is this like a brand split or something?
It probably, like, what I would kind of prefer it where it's, mainly Punk mainly hangs out on a Saturday, but it's not official, like, this is the Saturday roster, this is the Wednesday roster. If it is keeping these people apart, there's no reason why you can't have the Elite on one Saturday and Punk on the Wednesday and flip it around. But I think if they want to make this show work, it probably does make sense to do more of a split. Like,
yeah,
you've got to. If you want to see Punk, if you want to see Jericho, if you want to see FTR, you've got to tune in on a Saturday. So it does kind of make sense rather than the roster across all three shows. And, well, I'll watch Dynamite and I'll get a recap of what happened. So it probably does make sense from a business point of view of trying to get this thing off the ground. But we'll see how it plays out. We've seen Tony Khan in the past, like, learn from WWE mistakes. Recently, he's been falling into a lot of the WWE mistake traps. But it'd be interesting to see what his take on a roster split is.
Yeah, like, as a fan, is Rampage just going to be gone? Like, this is too much already. Like, it's so...
Well, I think Rampage hasn't meant anything for a while.
Yeah.
So I think that very much is your Sunday Night Heat style show now. And this is going to be more of your SmackDown.
Because, like, it sounds a bit much and it sounds a bit crazy, but I would imagine the reason is because they're like, oh, you want another wrestling slot? Sure. You want to make another 70+ million a year from stuff? Yeah, sure. Like, there's probably it's TV, and live TV is what is keeping TV alive. As someone who works in TV, live TV. So having another property, another show is, even if it's getting, low 200,000 viewers, that's still live thing, like a property, and airing it. So, like, I totally understand that. It's just like, as a fan, it's like, oh my God, there's so much wrestling.
Just with this show as well, it's like, we are going to want to watch this. Both of us work nights on a Saturday. So it's like,
and if we're not, why would I stay in?
Am I just having 4 hours sleep and then getting up to watch this thing before recording?
Just
like,
more
are
wrestling.
Are we moving this show around? Like, I don't know. Like, it's, but yeah, I'm sure this time next week we'll be chatting even more about CM Punk and stuff. But the wheels are in motion now. So yeah, interested to see. But I'd be happy if we get a Miro and a Goldberg on a Saturday.
Yeah, keep dreaming, but I'm not too sure. If Goldberg's on the Saturday show, that means Juice and Switchblade should be on it, so that we could have Bullet Club Goldberg.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see.
Well, we also had, while we're in the theme of roster splits, we had the start of the WWE Draft on Friday Night SmackDown.
Draft day.
Yeah, and this was drafted across SmackDown, and then they had some more picks on Saturday. So you've got the Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa with Paul Heyman as the first draft pick to SmackDown. Cody Rhodes staying on Raw, which kind of points me in the direction that maybe he's going to win
the consolation prize,
this belt that his father never won.
The runner-up title, yeah.
We've got Bianca Belair moving from Raw to SmackDown, and in like a little video, she was calling herself the SmackDown Women's Champion. We talked about lineages on Tuesday. Like, I don't know what the lineages of these women's titles are. Like, just change the names.
Yeah.
Have the Undisputed, have the Universal...
Yeah,
and WWE Women's Champion.
Why isn't there the Raw women, the Raw men's? Like, yeah, if you're gonna do that,
you can flip it way easier without having to swap titles.
Yeah.
Becky Lynch to Raw, Street Profits to SmackDown, Gunther, Ludwig Kaiser, and Giovanni Vinci to Raw, putting them on the same show as Cody. Which I think that little teaser of Gunther and Cody at the end of the Royal Rumble,
for sure,
that's something that really has my interest.
Honestly, like, I know he's the IC champion, but like, he should be the one to be the champion on Raw in the next year or so.
Both.
For sure. Oh yeah. Yeah, let's do more double titles.
Yeah. Edge moving to SmackDown. I feel he's been more of a just guy floating around, but like him actually on SmackDown. Riddle to Raw. You got Bobby Lashley moving to SmackDown. I see potentially a Roman match down the line. He's a big name who Roman hasn't really fought for a while. Drew moving back to Raw. Again, another big name, putting him in the mix for this, I assume, some sort of tournament for this title.
Yeah, so he's not going to AEW, people.
Yes.
I don't know where that came from.
The OC, AJ Styles returning.
Yeah.
Gallows and Anderson, they're like, oh, our friend's back, so we get a job again.
They've been probably sitting pretty.
They're the luckiest fucking...
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've discussed that a bunch.
With Michin, Mia Yim moving to SmackDown, Miz to Raw.
Am I missing something? Why is she with them?
Because they like drinking and Japanese culture.
Right. She's not Japanese, right?
No, but she likes her anime and stuff.
Right, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Can I join the OC then? I like Japanese culture.
You probably.
I probably fit in with them.
I don't think Gallows or Anderson would be like, nah. I feel like
I fit in with them.
I think so.
I kind of look like them.
You're like both of them.
Yeah.
Just be their kid.
You're not the first person to say
that. Damage controlled SmackDown, Nakamura to Raw. You've got the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, moving up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we'll discuss more on upNXT as well. But this was pretty cool. Seeing the clip where Sean is like, "Oh, I don't want to say this one. This one makes me upset," which is like, come on. And then he says it's these two, and they looked as if they did not know.
Yeah,
they looked genuinely surprised and look kind of emotional as well. So, and we've been calling for this for a bit, but the witches are coming to SmackDown.
It's kind of, especially this, I mean, this title's flip-flopped so much, and now you're going to have to vacate it or have them drop it on Tuesday to Chance and Katana. Kaden and Katana. But I think this makes sense, this call-up. They're both, like, very ready in ring-wise, and I think the gimmick's gonna work. And it's good. We've been saying this for a while. We need actual tag teams to move up, not just thrown together people. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And then Indy Hartwell moving to Raw. Obviously, she seemed to get hurt this week and guts her way through to retain that title. I do see that being vacated, though, on Tuesday with the call-up and the injury. Just makes a lot of sense. But again, it's kind of a shame because this title's flip-flopped a little bit recently with the weird Roxanne Perez win, suddenly with Amanda Rose leaving and then not vacating the title, losing it in the ladder match, then not winning it in the three-way.
Yeah, it's been messy.
It's been a little messy.
But yeah, no, I'm super excited about these picks. Indy, when she gets back and healthy, like that'll be great. Imagine when Candice eventually comes back in wrestling.
I was gonna say, so she will be on Raw with looking at this, the next picks, Dexter Lumis, Candice LeRae, and I would assume Johnny Gargano all on Raw.
This is the way.
So you can have the way together. Viking Raiders with Valhalla to Raw. Marseille and Mansoir with Maxine Dupree on Raw. Zoe Stark being called up as well.
Yeah.
I think she's someone as well we've said been ready for a while.
The wrestling especially, yeah. I hope she stays the heel character.
Yes, yeah definitely. And going against... Wait, no, Bianca's just moved. But I could see Zoe being potentially pretty good there as a heel challenger for people.
I know Indy's hurt, so she won't really make an impact for quite a while until she's ready and back. But I see the Witches dropping the NXT titles and picking up the women's WWE titles pretty soon, I would imagine. Honestly, going back to them, like as soon as like they're on TV, their character's gonna get over with a lot of fans because you know Spooky
people
Avenue,
like the witchy stuff.
People love this stuff. So like, I honestly think that it'll work for them. So I am really, I've grown to like them, and I'm kind of really happy for them, especially from watching them from before NXT and stuff
UK,
like that. So really, really great to see that. But excited for Indy and Zoe, and there's so many different matches that kind of can add to that. I know that this was just night one. I imagine there might be a few more that.
I think so.
Into the mix, but
JD McDonough and Apollo Crews from NXT moving up as well to Raw.
Apollo looked really excited, like he hasn't been on the main roster before. But
yeah, I don't know where you're going with him. JD's an interesting one. I saw him in my head as more of a SmackDown person.
Okay.
I wonder where he'll slot in to Raw. But yeah, I like his wrestling, so I am curious to see what they do with him. Natalia, Sonya Deville, and Chelsea Green to Raw. Hit Row and Lacey Evans to SmackDown. Omos, Mustafa Ali, and Dolph Ziggler as free agents.
Free agents.
Whatever that means.
Yeah. So there's more on Monday, right? By the time
more on Monday, I'd imagine you're going to have, I think, Seth Rollins stays on Raw with Becky being there and this new title. It makes most sense for him to be there.
Yeah.
I see Grayson Waller moving up to, I'd say, SmackDown.
If he's not injured after last week, apparently he got some sort of an injury.
He was limping around a little bit, yeah. Who else? Do we see Braun moving up?
Honestly, yeah. I just don't know what show, but yeah, he should.
I think so. But yeah, I am interested to see where this Triple H roster split is. We haven't had one of these for a little bit. So and with the introduction of a new title, I think they are going to, at least for the beginning, we'll see how long it lasts, but at least for the beginning, be a bit like harder with this split.
I think they'll be harder with the split, but they'll still do mixed shows. So like you still have different matches from different shows. I don't think we're going to get separate pay-per-views.
No. Yeah. But I think it's good timing as well, because in the past they've done this, like right before SummerSlam or right before a Survivor Series, and it's just been messy. I think it makes sense. It's like we're doing Backlash, and then May 6th is when this all comes into effect. I think that seems a lot cleaner.
I still think it's a bunch of BS, because they're already like, oh, by the way, next week so and so's on Raw. I think we're gonna still get that.
I don't think so right away. I think after a year we'll be back to how this is, but I really hope they try and like stick to this a bit more.
Yeah, it's
especially introducing a new title. Like you've got to. Otherwise, if you want to make that title mean something, it's got to be established as that top title in that brand.
Right.
But yeah, I'll be curious to see. I'm most excited about the NXT call-ups.
Absolutely. And like when Indy was called up, Sean like throws this thing like, oh man, because it's like, it seemed genuine. Again, this could all be like part of it, but it seemed like they didn't tell him, and that's the way it was presented, right? Like he didn't know that these were his picks. So Sean running NXT, having his first WWE draft, it's just like the old days where Triple H was like, I'm cooking down in NXT. I got these hot stars finally. And what's that? Oh, you brought them up to the main. Okay. Look, it's Sean. Sean's going through the same thing.
Triple H. I just want to see how you.
Yeah. I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to just pluck away your stars. But yeah, more drafts on Monday. I think if they do it right, it could be pretty fun and exciting for the next year with Triple H running stuff.
Other stuff in WWE this week. The main thing was the tag match, the tag rematch from WrestleMania. Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, with Sami and Kevin retaining, and the look at the end, the disappointed younger brother / dad Solo Sikoa as Jay and Jimmy look defeated. What does this mean for them in the bloodline? We were kind of talking on air the other day about, it's weird that this is on SmackDown and you're doing the 6-man on the show, but I think this is to set up to whatever happens at that show.
Okay.
We'll find probably these two kicked out of the bloodline is what I'm imagining.
Right. I like the match, like WrestleMania main event rematch. It was really good, but like never want to hear anyone go off about the Young Bucks and how many super kicks they do in a match ever again. No. Because the gimmick has been shifted over to these guys a long time ago. But wow, I don't know. I lost count in this one. The Mania one was ridiculous. I think this one even had more, but still a great match. And the storyline keep going. I imagine you go to Jay versus Roman again.
Well, I wonder if the Usos are like exiled to Raw, because you had Roman and Solo drafted to SmackDown without the inclusion of the Usos.
Right.
I wonder if we're going to have some sort of like them move to Raw for a bit and have them separate and maybe trying to fight their way back into Bloodline. I don't know, but I'm interested in the next step, and I think we or keep them on SmackDown, because I think that Jay Roman rematch down the line should probably happen to come full circle with that. But yeah, I enjoyed the match. It obviously wasn't a patch on the WrestleMania one, but that's like the whole circumstances being a main event of a WrestleMania, Sami and Kevin winning the titles. Yeah, it's different second time round, but as far as TV match was pretty good. And
so are we splitting these titles then?
Yeah, I get like they've not been drafted yet, so
true. Okay.
Yeah, I would think possibly
they get drafted to different shows.
I can't imagine you having 2 world titles and then floating tag team champions.
It's weird, right?
Seems a little weird. But does that mean they've then got to introduce like women's like second women's tag team belts?
God.
Like I would prefer it if you're these champions, you move from brand to brand, but I don't know.
Yeah, you could do something like a tournament on one, like leading into a pay-per-view, like a tournament on the other brand being like the winner of this one faces that, or things like that.
Or you have, Sami and Kevin individually defending both sets until they lose one, and then whatever one they've kept is the brand they're on, maybe something like that. Anything else from WWE this week?
No, I mean, the draft is kind of the big thing. Backlash being next weekend with a pretty interesting card with the Bad Bunny stuff. Like it's gonna be crazy because, like, again, people they underestimate the popularity of Bad Bunny. Definitely the popularity of Bad Bunny in a sold out. Is it a stadium?
Yeah,
in his home. Like, this is gonna be crazy.
Or a dome or something. Yeah, it's a big venue.
I'm super excited to watch this show.
So we were thinking maybe a tag or a 6-man or something, but they announced it's going to be a street fight. Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest.
Street fight tonight.
In what I assume is the main event.
The poster is now that match.
So that's pretty cool. Like, that's going to be nuts.
You figured they had a Ray match, though, right? Like Ray versus Dom 2 or something? I figured it was Dom and...
Well, unless you could do, like, Finn and Dom versus Ray and Santos. Maybe put that on the show. Or is the fact we're having a street fight... Is that where you're going to just get all these people involved helping out? Like,
but you
Legado doing spots.
Yeah, but you'd figure you'd get a Ray like entrance and Ray match and everything on that, or just the tag.
I reckon you'll do Santos and Ray versus Dom and Finn.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Add that, because so far I have the card here. It's that 6-man you mentioned: Riddle, Owens, and Sami versus the Bloodline. Cody and Brock, obviously, which is pretty huge. You imagine maybe that's the main event, or maybe Bad Bunny.
Oh, Cody and Brock. Yeah, I think in Puerto Rico,
Yeah, it
you
might as well be
main with
Bad Bunny. The
yeah.
San Juan street fight, right?
He can sing himself to the ring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My favorite Bad Bunny song is Dakiti. I don't know if it's necessarily a good theme for him, but he should play himself out to the ring. That would be some badass stuff if this dude's coming out while spitting. I'm for it. Ripley versus Zelina Vega.
Yep.
Don't see Rhea dropping that one.
No, but it makes sense to put this match, like, you know, Zelina's background as well.
Yeah.
Like, loading it with your, like,
For sure.
Latin American talent.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, yo, where's Rey Mysterio's match? With Santos. Let's go. Seth freaking Rollins versus Omos. Dream match here.
Seth's gonna
Stomp
get
him.
the best match. Yeah, how high is that stomp gonna have to be?
Off the top rope.
Got to get this guy to bend
You gotta
over.
get down. Yeah, true. Yeah. Austin Theory versus Lashley versus Bronson Reed.
For the US,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I mean, it depends. Lashley has been drafted to SmackDown, right? So with Gunther going to
Oh, true.
Raw,
Okay.
unless, I mean, that doesn't mean that I don't think Theory or Reed has been drafted
True,
yet
okay.
either. So
Right.
whoever's winning this is going to SmackDown, I assume.
Yeah. Okay. And then the match actually I'm most excited for: Bianca Belair versus Io Sky.
Yeah.
Finally, she's getting a one-on-one huge pay-per-view singles women's championship match in a dome stadium, whatever this is. Man, I'm excited.
I can't really. I remember there was a 4-way in NXT. I can't really remember much of a singles match between.
We
these
were at
two.
that 4-way.
We were at the 4-way. That was New York, was it?
Yeah. So these two know each other. They have some history, but like Bianca's on top of the game. She's basically
Yeah.
John Cena in WWE right now, and Io is my favorite. And I think been waiting. The damage control thing's been a bit iffy. I'm not gonna lie. I really should be loving it, and I'm not really.
No, I agree.
And I'm not really. So them being drafted is actually probably what's best for that. But I don't see Io winning this necessarily. But
So Damage Control are staying on Raw, are they?
Oh, really?
Or
No, they went to
they've
SmackDown.
moved to SmackDown. Okay.
I think so, yeah, because Michael Cole and Bailey and all that.
Yes,
stuff,
they're,
yeah.
yes, they're moving to SmackDown. Yeah, so this could go either way. I don't see. I think you're keeping this on
Yeah.
Bianca for an eventual
Huge.
Rhea
Yeah,
match.
yeah, true.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm just excited for the match, and Io is again like my fave. So I'm expecting this to be a banger.
Yeah,
essentially,
should be
So,
good. Yeah, it should be a fun show.
Yeah. So in Backlash next week, we'll talk about it next Sunday afternoon on this very show.
In a bit more of WWE news, former writer for WWE has filed a lawsuit against, her name's Brittany Abrahams, and has filed a lawsuit against WWE, in particular, I think, Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, I'm trying to get the rest of the names here, but few people for being wrongfully terminated, and has also put out all these kind of racist stereotypes that have been pitched in writing rooms.
Oh yeah,
So-
let's remember that WWE's
Yeah.
sucks.
So her firing came under the pretext of taking one of the commemorative chairs at WrestleMania. So you have the commemorative chairs that apparently she took one of these chairs, and that was a reason for firing her. By the sounds of it, it's maybe she's been quite vocal in these writing rooms and stuff about being against certain stereotypes and things being pitched around, and this was maybe an excuse to be like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, we're gonna have to let you go.
Wow.
So some of the things she mentioned was she brought up the Apollo Crews character, which obviously we saw play out on TV. She brought up like lines that would be pitched for Bianca Belair, which I think apparently Bianca stood up against as well, about like, oh, don't let me take my earrings off to fight you or whatever, which is
Okay. Yeah.
a stereotype of kind of, black women. Reggie being pitched to be put in drag and then caught by Shane Thorne, who would have a hunter gimmick where he'd be hunting Reggie and lock him in cages and things like that. And then
Insane.
maybe the wildest one is Mansoor having a deep secret about how he was behind the 9/11 attacks at a grand old age of 6.
Yeah, he would have been how
6
old?
years old, I believe, when 9/11 happened.
Jeez.
Yeah, so obviously they're like it's WWE. We've seen the Apollo Crews gimmick, and we've seen Akira Tozawa as a ninja, and racial stereotypes is nothing new. But the lawsuit is was she terminated like wrongfully,
yeah.
and so yeah.
Yeah, if you've watched wrestling for years, we've seen it scattered through the thing. The internet is so accessible. There's footage of this for years of this kind of stuff, and it's like now it's coming. Kind of people are like, "Hey, they're still doing that," which is like very shocking. We didn't see the Reggie stuff on TV. I was not aware of, and I know there's pictures floating around with the Shane Thorne wearing the Hunter's hat.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Like, I wasn't aware of that. Obviously, the story coming about the 9/11 storyline, like, that's just ludicrous. Like, what? If you imagine you put that on TV, you would be just ridiculed, and they would have been, like, absolutely, like, taken apart, and rightfully so, right? Like, how stupid is that? And so silly. Like, who came up with that? And, like, it seems like there's maybe still some old guard in WWE. I mean, this was what, a year, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
These things. So, like, things, maybe there has been different people in and out of stuff, but like, wow, what the hell? Like, I think back when, I'm watching wrestling, I'm talking about the greatest year of wrestling, 2005. It was littered with that stuff. That's the iconic Vince dropping the N-bomb in front of Booker T and John Cena, and everyone just like, yeah, that's fine. That's okay. It's like, what? Years later, it's like, that's the one clip they wish they could remove, but again, the internet, it's forever. There's the Mexicools. Like, it's been going on for years.
It has, and like I'm not defending WWE for some of these gimmicks, but also I can understand from a writer's room point of view, there's probably, hey, there's no bad ideas, what do you have? And like, okay, they didn't go with the Mansoor thing. But I think there is an element, like anything creative, when you've got a bunch of people, it is just throwing ideas into the fire and see, okay, what works, there's a nugget there, that's awful, like that kind of thing. And I think stereotypes are difficult to like navigate around. Okay, take the Apollo Crews thing, which I haven't heard from him as a performer how he felt about it, but they're playing up his background in character. It wasn't like suddenly he did justify why he now has this accent.
Right.
And like, respectfully, like, that character had the IC title in a WrestleMania match. He's on NXT seeing the future. Like, so it's I don't know, are stereotypes always racist necessarily? Are you to ignore someone's background completely to just, and these are just people? Like,
I again, we're two white guys, but I see when they say, yo, Sheamus, tell everyone you're the Irish warrior and make sure your accent's real thick. And is it
you
like
drinking
similar?
Guinness? And
yes, like, he doesn't look like he drinks a lot of Guinness. He's Jack. But I'm like, Apollo Crews.
It's a light beer, technically.
True, yeah. Like Apollo Crews, I personally haven't had like anyone be like, oh my God, like that's so like racist. And again, he really hasn't said anything. It was really jarring when all of a sudden he had an accent. Yeah. But you're right. The on-screen character was like, no, I'm standing up for like my heritage and stuff. Exactly. I was like, oh, he's being like a Nigerian prince. Okay. Yeah. I maybe like, tell me, please, am I wrong? I didn't see too much wrong with that aspect of the character. But if you're telling me, hey, Mansoor's behind 9/11 because he's from over there, it's like, what? Like, no, and that wasn't used on TV, right? But I also have watched stuff on TV that I'm like, oh, that was not cool.
Nope.
And that's still in the past, like, only a few years. You mentioned Akira Tozawa. They were like, yo, let's just make him a fucking ninja because he's Japanese. Like, come on, that's clear as day. That's just
and
kind of some racist.
Obviously things like having a white hunter
Australian
going after a black man and locking him in a cage
cages
is absolutely not a good look at all. But as Frank in the chat brings up, we have Italian mobsters murdering
kill people
on NXT. So it's where does a stereotype become offensive? You have William Regal drinking cups of tea. You know, like, I'm not offended by that. It's an easy stereotype of British people.
Right.
I think when it becomes portraying people in a like derogatory way, or like, certainly, as I said, that Hunter script thing is very offensive. Having Mansoor as behind Saudi, and I think that demographic especially, you should be trying to go against that.
Right.
Like, how many times we've seen with Mustafa Ali, when we see him create those promo videos where he's outside and he's talking about how he used to be a cop in Chicago and all that sort of stuff, he's so compelling. And so many times I felt the urge, we kind of just want to make him a terrorist because he's brown.
Yeah, it's
you know,
so
like
ridiculous.
that's where it's bad.
It's so ridiculous. That totally is true. Like, of how they just want to go back to like the well, essentially, of doing this constantly. And you know, again, this is from the past few years. Maybe things you would hope are a bit different, but it's WWE. You kind of would imagine that's somewhat this way. But yeah, like, it's not shocking news that this person's like, hey, they're racist or what. It's like, yeah, we watched for years. You saw all this stuff throughout the years, numerous things. We could sit here all day for hours going through all the different things they've done, and it's like, yeah, in today's age, you don't see it as much, but you still do.
It's also, I mean, I don't know, from a like TV point of view, like, it's I'm trying to think how to word this. It's like, well, it's not like we are not using people of certain demographics,
right?
You know,
right?
Which would be, I'm not using him because he's black or whatever.
Right.
It's, they are trying to come up with stuff. I don't know. At the end of the day, I think it's going to be very hard for her to prove that she's wrongfully terminated, and the racist kind of like accusations, which there might be some truth in that. I don't know how it ties with her. At the end of the day, you're going to have to prove, were they right in firing her for this reason? I guess
just shouldn't have taken that chair.
Shouldn't have taken that chair.
Shout out B Detroit in the chat. He says the Apollo Crews character would have been the same, but it would have worked without the accent. Yeah, and I think he's totally right.
True.
Like, if he goes, I'm sick and tired of what was his gimmick before that? I can't even remember.
Nothing.
Yeah.
That's the this guy's had nothing.
Right.
And like that's the best he's been
to
in
be
this
fair,
company.
I remember being like, oh, he looks so cool with the outfit and stuff. But then when he talked, I was kind of like, was that needed? Yeah. So I fair enough. But
like, I'd be really interested to hear from the performers, which I doubt we ever are, unless, you know, Apollo gets released and he's on Renee's podcast or Jericho's or something.
Yeah.
But like, they're the people I'd want to hear from. How comfortable or uncomfortable are they from doing it? Like,
there must be so much more that hasn't come to light, right? Like, other people's stories, other writers, other characters, other wrestlers that have, like, you know, things said or mentioned to them or brought up or pitched to them that they're like, oh my god, and if would come out would be like shocking. I'm sure there's dozens of cases, hundreds of cases of so many different. Think of all the performers through the past years who've come and gone, of all the crazy hell. Stephanie McMahon alone has said, like, Vince has pitched some crazy shit. So like, stuff, so like, imagine there's so much out there that will eventually, you know, come to light when wrestlers do interviews and podcasts, and when they're retired or out of the WWE, that eventually, you know, let things out in the open, like, will come out. And the same is in Hollywood. I was just reading, like, I was a big fan of the Lawrence brothers, and they have the podcast about their shows and stuff. And one of the Lawrence brothers was like, just on a podcast the other day, was like, yeah, someone offered me a huge Marvel role. I went to audition and they told me, hey, get naked. And like, I'm not going to out who they are, but they're still working. It's like, sorry, what? Like, this is like, the shit is happening all over the world, and entertainment is just enormously fucked, right? But like, for WWE, with all these stories coming out, it's like, there's got to be a lot of things that someone, like, there's got to be wrestlers sitting on something that made them mad, that are like, I got pitched this ridiculous idea that,
oh, sure,
I won't talk about, but like, wow, it was bad. And there's probably a lot of those instances, unfortunately, but there's a lot of stuff that has come out that has been good. And like, is it wrong to just be like, WWE is so fucked, I just won't watch any of their stuff? It's like, is it too far gone now that we're like, Yeah, it's WWE. I'll still watch it. Like I don't. It's weird as a fan, right? Because I see so many people, Twitter people. That's my own fault for being on it still. But how could you watch WWE? It's their racist, evil company. It's like, fuck, I just want to watch Bad Bunny in a street fight. I'm like, fuck. I'm sorry, right? Like, what am I supposed to do?
It's also like,
I don't know.
Can I not use this computer because it's made by these evil people?
I wear Nikes
like,
on my feet, and like I feel bad, but
difficult.
like fuck, man. Like I don't know. There's like I could come across as an ass, but it's like I pick and choose of my selective outrage, and I have chosen in the past and still am. Vince McMahon, I'm so happy he's gone right now, kind of, sort of, but like I'll be a lot happier when he's not involved.
Yeah.
But like sadly he's still involved, so it's like it makes us like, I'm just gonna enjoy the wrestling. Wrestling is supposed to be my outlet, and it's supposed to be my excuse away from the outside world, but it's like, oh man, just want to watch the silly fake sports sometimes.
Well, someone we might get an exit interview from soon is Roderick Strong,
Hey.
the move into AEW, who made his debut this week in a bit of a shock. We know he's been off of NXT TV for quite a while after Damon Kemp almost murdered him. Like, this was one of the most savage beatings of all time. He's been off TV since last year. And then, very quietly, I guess, got his release and debuted on AEW this week to help out longtime friend Adam Cole.
More people got to be like Roderick Strong. Just be quiet. Just don't tell people.
Yeah.
Don't tell people things. Don't trust your stooges, as people say. Don't, because like no one saw this coming. Like we thought we'd see him pop up on NXT again. We thought Diamond Mine was forever. Apparently that's not the case. Or is it? Because maybe he just came back to hang out with Stokely.
Yeah.
And what's the other guy? Is there another one? I forget. There was a few other guys in there.
Well, Tyler Rust is kicking around, isn't he?
Yeah. The real catalyst. Because
catalyst.
when they fired him, that's when NXT went to shit.
Went nuts after that.
So yeah, Roderick Strong in AEW. If you've been listening to us, this is awesome for us.
Yeah.
We absolutely love Roderick Strong. I don't know what it is, but watching his wrestling for the last 10 plus years of before WWE, specifically Ring of Honor, but then Undisputed Era, coming into his own with the whole NXT thing when we were primetime watching NXT, when that was a huge act. His terrible promo skills that it's so bad makes it good.
Yeah.
His, again, amazing wrestling. He's just been one of our all-time favorites to watch. And to finally see him kind of go somewhere, to go hang out with his friends.
Yeah, I love Roderick Strong. Like, I think his wrestling's awesome, has been for a long time. I don't think the ceiling is too high for him, but I think this is absolutely the right move. Like, he had to get out of NXT. Even though NXT's improved, he's had his time there. He's been there long enough. I don't see anything he can do on the main roster, respectfully. AEW makes the most sense. He's going to come in. He'll have some tags with Cole. He'll have trios, hopefully. Touch wood when Kyle is healthy. You can put him in that like international title mix, like a Orange Cassidy Roderick Strong match. Sounds pretty fun.
He's just back to Ring of Honor.
and you've got ROH, yeah. So I think it is, at this stage of his career, the right move for him.
And his wife is there.
His wife's there. It makes a whole lot of sense. As I said, I don't see this guy challenging being AEW champion.
No.
But he can certainly be part of the mix, and I think it kind of helps Adam Cole's act as well.
For sure. Let me ask you a question. Where is the lie? Bobby Fish, one of the biggest goofs in wrestling, one of the biggest mistakes possibly ever, was running your damn mouth, because you just missed out on your meal ticket, buddy. We don't need four of you.
He was just saying what everyone else was thinking by the sounds of it.
He was, but he also,
It's a little cue. Yeah, is that it as well?
Yeah, possibly. So we don't need four. We just need three.
I mean, there's not a quads division, is there? It's trios. So I actually got spoiled this. I was working a rare Wednesday night shift and had a few tweets like, "Oh, I guess we know where Roddy is now." And I'm like, "Oh, fuck, okay." And obviously the Adam Cole makes a whole lot of sense. But I was wondering, because we know we're building to sort of faction warfare with the BCC and the Elite. I remember that story in the Bucks book about how in ROH, Danielson and Roderick Strong beat the absolute ever-living shit out of them in a tag match, trying to get them over as baby faces, and it just made them cheer more, so they beat them up even more. And I was like, oh, that would be like, obviously the Undisputed Era thing is an easy and obvious and probably the right choice, but I'd be curious to see him in BCC as well. And I think down the line, that's absolutely something you can revisit.
Sure.
Like him and Danielson.
For sure. Yeah, again, going back, Roderick, I would love to do a BME Roddy of just all the stuff in the past.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I honestly, he's one of my all-time favorites, just in ring, like always whenever he was on a show, going to those Ring of Honor shows or indie shows, you knew I'd get a match that was worth the price of admission when he was on the card. So I'm so excited. I'm seeing seeing people like, oh, it's like another random signing. It's like, no, this guy's going to go in and make people look like absolute money. And while he's still super jacked and in incredible shape, there's a lot of matches I do want to see. Roderick Strong versus Danielson versus a lot of the up-and-comers. Roderick Strong, Daniel Garcia, Roderick
Takeshita.
Yeah, there's so many like good things. And moving him to Ring of Honor is probably a great move there and a great hand to have. And when Kyle, hopefully, again, knock on wood, Kyle O'Reilly comes back, that trios team of them is going to be great. Yep. So can't wait.
Like, he's someone I could absolutely see in ROH challenging for any of those belts. You know, him v. Yuta, him v. Joe, him v. Claudio.
Yeah.
Like, all of that, I think him in ROH does make a lot of sense. And we're seeing, like, it's the same roster. People are flowing back and forth.
Camp Strong, baby. I knew it was him. I was watching. I was at work, actually, but I had it on, and Cole was getting beat down, and I was like, well, that's weird that all of a sudden Bandito and Orange Cassidy...
The new Undisputed Era, while Kyle O'Reilly's out and Bobby's doing his thing.
Which
Adam Cole,
great.
Adam Cole, Orange Cassidy, Bandito, and Roderick
sunglasses.
Strong.
Bandito in sunglasses, and Roderick Strong. So I was like watching, and then when the music hit, I knew right away, because it's Killswitch Engage. Shout out. I used to love listening to them. End of Heartache, which Roderick used like back in the day, and that's what he named his finisher after. So I knew right away, and I genuinely popped like, oh man, I just love this guy. So happy to see this, and there's gonna be some great matches. And next week he's wrestling already that like 8-man tag, which again he's gonna shine.
What is it?
It's the new Undisputed Era.
The new UE against JAS.
UEOC versus the Jets. What?
The JAS.
The JAS.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. So super excited about that.
We also had the announcement of the Owen is happening again, and it's going to be a huge part of this Canada tour. So they said opening ceremony at Double or Nothing. I don't know if that means opening round match or just Martha Hart in a nice hat again.
Just waving.
And the final is going to take place at the Calgary show, which originally was advertised as a house show, but it is on a Saturday.
Ooh.
So it sounds like it will be on Collision.
Calgary Collision.
Collision, yeah, exactly. But yeah, the Owen coming back again.
Yeah, makes total sense with the whole Canada tour. It's just going to get Canadians riled up and excited. And I'm talking...
Matches at Forbidden Door.
Yeah, I'm thinking like the West Coast, who haven't had like huge wrestling and TV stuff. Like trust me, they're thirsty. And like we were looking at trying to go for that Saddle Dome show, which is going to be bonkers during the actual Calgary Stampede. So like I think that's actually really special that they purposely plan that out to kind of culminate at that show, which will be awesome. We're gonna get like matches throughout the summer then, right?
Yeah, I wanted them to do when they first announced the Owen for last year, or like I think it was probably announced the year before, but it happened around Double or Nothing. Tony Khan was saying, oh, it's going to be something different, and then it was just a brackets tournament. I really want to see in wrestling them try to do something other than single elimination tournament.
Right.
I think when you've got all this TV, both WWE and AEW, I would like to see them experiment with, you know, either group style like a G1 where you have 2 groups of 10 and you can have it play out over months instead of just throwing out a random match, this person against this person, which they do on AEW all the time. have it mean something. 2 points for a win, 1 for a draw, like time limit. You can have it play out over months. It makes all your TV matches mean something or interesting, or do like a World Cup style with like smaller blocks. I just like to see a wrestling company experiment and do something other than just elimination. And it just, I never know why there aren't more longer tournaments, because it fills TV time up. You're going to have Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, no more Elevation, but Dark even. Why not have, we've got a first round match on Dark, like block match or stuff. I see them just going the easy route but because AEW do tournaments once a month, it feels just another bracket thing doesn't really interest me.
I think if they do it a bit better, they did it okay last year. I didn't like it that much at the end of the day, and it didn't mean anything. They made these titles, gave it to Adam Cole and Britt Baker. We're like, cool, not sure what we're doing with you yet. Yeah. The winner should also get a title shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Both women's and men's, the winner should get it. They should be like King of the Ring.
Yeah.
You should get a title shot at the next big TV special or whatever, pay-per-view, whatever it is, because then you could plan ahead and make your winner like the next big pay-per-view title shot or whatever. But having it in Canada, I imagine they're going to add in some sprinkles of some Canadian talent throughout the whole thing. Like your Stu Graysons are going to shine. I bet you they get Speedball somehow. I know he's Impact, but like possibly in there as well.
I mean, you're going to get Japanese talent because of Forbidden Door, right?
That whole stretch, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some of those guys on that tour as well. So yeah, I hope that if it's a tournament style like last year, I hope that we just get some great matches. And like a Forbidden Door one, you would imagine it's like a Japanese New Japan star. I mean,
I'd like
AEW
them
American.
I'd like them to last year you had Dax and Cash against each other because of the draw of the tournament. This year you could do like a Roddy versus Adam Cole or something like that. Like mix it up, make it a bit more interesting. But yeah, I definitely want to see like some changes with tournaments. Do something a bit more adventurous going forward.
Yes, fair enough.
I think people think wrestling fans are stupid a lot of the time, but like every other sport can manage blocks and things like that.
Yeah.
Like let's not do the 8-man tournament because
it's got to be bigger than that if it's going through
exactly
like a
like
big stretch
that's what I mean.
Summer,
like
so.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Also on Dynamite this week we had the story continue between the BCC and the Elite. We had the tag match Butcher and Blade taking on Kenny Omega and Takeshita with a big beatdown at the end, and Takeshita kind of having to choose where his alliance is because Danielson's saying, look, the Elite create people like Michael Nakazawa and Brandon Cutler, whereas we create diamonds here, like Wheeler Yuta.
Diamond
and
and everyone from WWE.
And everyone from WWE.
Danielson's so good though. Like, is he the only one we're okay with them just randomly switching back to heel and babyface? Like, because he's so good at anything. Like, honestly, he even slipped up, which it's a rare occurrence. He rarely ever slipped up, but he's like, you should train with the Elite, and then the crowd are like, what? And he's like, and like he fixed it, and he's so easy to get behind to cheer, and he's so easy to get behind and boo. And really love Danielson. I felt like maybe I was more into this than the crowd was watching it, but like Takeshita has been someone who's been somewhat of a great heater guy to get other people over, and finally being involved in a storyline, I'm like, okay, like that's how it works. Like, don't do what you did with Garcia, where you hyped it up. It was the biggest angles every show, and then all of a sudden it's like, actually, let's drop it. Let's just cool that down. Because I'm super into this. If we go to the BCC versus Kenny match at Double or Nothing, which you imagine is Anarchy in the arena, that sounds crazy. Those 4 versus those 4, absolutely. Like, take my money.
It would be 5.
5. Who's the 5th guy?
Oh well, BCC need a guy, don't they? Or are we saying Matt Jackson's out?
I think Matt Jackson's in. So
That's
it's
what I
Kenny, Takeshita, and the Bucks.
Kenny, Takeshita, the Bucks, and Paige.
Oh shit, where's he been
involved, hasn't he?
Yeah, where's he been at?
I don't know.
He's the whole reason this feud started.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, true. Okay, yeah, right. Maybe he can't make it and we get Coda, but I don't think we're getting Coda, to be honest.
I think it's going to be 5-on-5. Like we've still got a month to build this thing. It seems like
who does BCC have then? They don't have 5.
Yeah, they need someone.
True. Unless
Or whether it's Takeshita does. I mean, he just got a screwdriver to the head.
Right. Yeah.
But unless that was a wake-up call and Takeshita goes with them to have Coda step in. Or it might be... I think Coda with the BCC would be interesting.
You're a madman. Wow, you're saying bringing Coda to
feud with them. Yeah.
Interesting.
I've seen a lot of people are really enjoying this. It's not connecting with me a great deal, to be honest.
Yeah.
I
like
think... Yeah, I know I'm in the minority. I think the match is going to be really good, and I agree with you. I really like how Takeshita is being elevated with this. The flip-flopping of Danielson is getting a bit tiresome for me. He is becoming a bit of a big show. Claudio is someone I used to be a big fan. I can't say I've particularly been interested in him at all.
Yeah, not at all.
And Mox, I feel I'm a little overexposed to him, bleeding and having the same kind of brawling matches. I feel he's someone I could do with having a bit of a break to come back and mean more. So I know this match is going to be good. Just it hasn't really connected with me as much as it has been connecting with everyone else. And I've kind of felt that with AEW in general.
Yeah,
this is one of the most lackluster
cycles
for a pay-per-view. They've got 2 huge shows coming up with Wembley, Forbidden Door, and All Out. So I think they may be saving a lot of stuff for that. And this is definitely the hottest angle on AEW at the moment. But for me, I'm going to buy the pay-per-view regardless. Like, I'm watching all of these. But it's not... This is kind of the main event, and it doesn't feel hot enough for me, personally.
What's the main event?
This Anarchy in the arena.
I mean, the main event's the 4-way.
You think that main event's the show?
Yeah, which is soft, which is really
That's what
soft.
I mean,
This is definitely one of the worst pay-per-view cycles going into, like, I think the numbers aren't going to be as high as some of the other pay-per-views just because there is no build to this pay-per-view. I know there's still a month out, so, like,
These are the only 2 matches we really know at the moment, and this hasn't been confirmed, this 4-way, but yeah, this 4-way stuff has sucked. I think when they first announced it, I was interested.
Hold on. Well, going back to like the
BCC
stuff, I do agree. Like it's kind of we know where it's going. They announced next week, not this upcoming week, but the next week in Detroit. So in the following week is a cage match with Kenny versus Mox, and I'm like, okay, that's good. People would tune in, have a match, and then have a huge angle at the end where you set up
in the cage, being locked in, beaten
exactly,
up,
more violence and stuff like that. Like, cool. I am behind that angle.
You do have something for a Kota Ibushi to moonsault off.
That's just I want to debut, but I'm jumping off a cage. All right, yeah, cool. While shooting fireworks. Yeah. I'm obviously I still watch every week. It's still my favorite program, but I am like a bit down on I'm just trying to like fantasy book in my head of what the best Double or Nothing could be, and so far I'm like, your main event is the 4-way where no one buys any of the challengers, which is kind of the last pay-per-view was the same thing. Sorry, Danielson told us he doesn't want to be champion.
Yeah.
Why would he win the title?
Yeah.
After an hour of wrestling, like the match was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing, but like I think this match again will be amazing, but the hype for it is definitely not that great.
Like when they first announced it, it sounded like a good thing, and then I think they really fumbled it. Like you've had the promos last week were pretty awful.
Yeah,
I thought, and you're now doing these count out and DQ finishes because we know where it's going. It's lazy. The way it's been told, they're building a match over will Sammy Guevara lay down, which is not enticing for me. I think Sami is way below the other 3 as well. Like, I think he's a good wrestler, but there's only so many times I can see a guy do a 630 and that be impressive. It's no one's like MJF is easily winning this thing. It does not make me want to buy the pay-per-view for this match.
Yeah,
I don't think you should have this main event.
Is Punk coming out after this, or what? Like, yeah, you're saying it shouldn't be the main event. The main event should be the blood.
I think it's like
anarchy?
a lights out anarchy in the arena.
Okay.
Just destroy the ring, everything.
Yeah,
like have it a complete
I agree.
mess. Because I don't think they didn't main event when it was Kenny, Pac, and Orange, did they?
Okay, right, yeah.
And that felt the same. It's like, I like these guys, but
It didn't main event?
I don't think so. I think I think it was a Stadium Stampede or something.
Right.
In a circle pinnacle, I think.
Right,
maybe.
okay. Yeah.
I can't remember.
Well, so, I mean, they got the tag match this week, which, again, the wrestling will be good, but the story is definitely, like, not that exciting. I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff going on. We got a deletion match next week, apparently.
Yeah.
At, like,
Is this
5:30.
Jeff's first match back?
It's going to be, like, a pre-taped thing then, right? Okay, cool.
I think that's a great idea for Rampage. You know, like it's a pre-taped show anyway.
But because of like sports and stuff, it's airing at like 5:30.
Which might be better.
Maybe.
Come home from work and watch the. I don't buy like I watch everything after the fact anyway. It doesn't matter. I don't watch sports. Like, I know we started by talking about the Leafs for 20 minutes at the beginning, but like it's if you want to watch something, you watch it.
Yeah, we're millennials or Gen whatever, and it's like we don't watch stuff. We don't have cable.
I would use a VCR when I was 8 to watch something I wanted to watch. Like
cable.
it's recording stuff is nothing new. Like,
wrestling ratings mean nothing to me.
But I will say, like, I'm probably gonna watch that compound match the first time I've watched Rampage for months over anything else they put on.
Yeah.
So probably a good move.
I'll tell you, the ratings on Watch Wrestling the next day will be high.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's get the ratings for Watch Wrestling on wrestling shows. That's the real ratings.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jeff Hardy in a final firm deletion match.
Firm deletion.
Can't wait. I'm so excited.
So it's Matt and Jeff against.
I don't know. We're gonna get a dilapidated boat. We're gonna get fireworks and delete.
We had Taya Valkyrie and Jade Cargill finally have their match. I thought it was pretty rough.
Worth the wait?
No. I don't.
The finish was like, oh yeah, I can't do this move. And then gets the move on her.
Silly story. I don't think Taya Valkyrie's that good, to be honest.
I don't mind her, but maybe not the best opponent in Jade, who I still don't think has like gotten better at the wrestling. I love Jade as the character. Yeah. She looks the part. She's amazing worker, everything. The Twitter game strong, but when it comes to the wrestling, still not hitting the way she kind of should be, I think.
But she's not like. I don't feel she's working with all the. I mean, the division is weak. It's still a weak division.
Yeah.
This didn't do anything for me, especially that it's been built up for a long time.
Yeah.
What else did we have on the show? Oh, Orange and Bandito.
That was pretty good.
That was fun.
Bandito and Orange Cassidy's become a strong asset to them, like for this past, not just this year, but since AEW. Like he's a strong. You could put him in a world title match easily, and people would be okay with it. He's made this title now.
Yeah, any match sounds interesting with Orange Cassidy, and it's just hilarious that the guy with the lazy gimmick is like the workhorse and MVP of this company this year, I'd say.
So he's honestly so good. He saves the show a lot of the time. That was the highlight of the show, was that match, and every time he has one of these matches, it's great. Like you could watch him against anyone. I can't wait for Orange Cassidy versus Goldberg. That's going to be one of the biggest matches. He just gets fucking speared. That's the match.
Yeah. I mean, he had a big singles match at Forbidden Door last year with Ospreay. Who would you...
Tomohiro Ishii?
Ishii
what's the...
Shingo?
Yeah, Shingo, yeah.
Shingo Cassidy.
Just slapping the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Book it, TK. Yeah, what else? I'm trying to think of what else happened on...
Not a whole lot. I've been really down on Dynamite recently. It hasn't really captured me. I think, as I said, I think they're saving a lot for the Saturday show in this summer where they've got a lot of things cooking. But right now, I'm pretty low on it.
Yeah, I still will always watch, and will watch this week. But like in a few weeks, that cage match is in Detroit, and then like normally
they love a cage in Detroit, don't they?
Yeah, normally we'd be like but we've done it already. We're going to Detroit for SummerSlam. It's like not really hot enough to make the trip, but we'll still tune in and stuff like that. Also, what's funny, I got a chuckle out of it, unfortunately for Jay White, but he's already been put on Rampage duty. He just timing, I think, ruined any, like, this guy was champion. This guy was the main event in New Japan, and he comes in here teaming with the Bullet Club on. Like, it's just sad for him, unfortunately.
It's completely timing. I think if this sale hadn't happened with WWE, I think he'd be there. I think WWE is the right fit for him.
Yeah.
Tony Khan doesn't really know what to do with him, and
like the guy's getting paid, which is great. You know, he's got a slot, he can feed his family and stuff. But like, just watching that, oh, it's Bullet Club, it's the BC era gold. Just shut up.
Maybe they need a third, so
Goldberg.
they can be in so they can be in the trios. By the way, where is House of Black?
Oh yeah, champions. Once you're a champion, that's it.
We
The
forget about
story's
you.
over.
Yeah,
Yeah, game over. You mean the trios battle royal that they're having? Stop doing stupid battle royals, Tony Khan. What the fuck is a trios battle royal? So the winner of this trios thing gets a shot at the House of Black.
Find House of Black.
Yeah, in the spooky room with the door closed. Yeah, holy shit.
Well, that's it for AEW. Trinity Fatu has finally found a home.
You think you're Naomi?
And she's going to Impact.
Well, she has.
She's at Impact.
Yeah. So is Punk. No.
Punk and Trinity. Yeah.
Yeah. So Naomi is in Impact, which she hasn't wrestled for a long time, but Impact.
It's been a year.
Yeah. Impact has a great women's division. They have a talented roster there, so there are instantly some great matches you could go to. I think she's already tangling up with Jody Threat, a regular of ours that we've seen in Toronto a bunch, and she's just recently signed, so can't wait to see that match. I would definitely check that out. But it is weird. It's like Sasha goes to New Japan and then loses the title. She is wrestling again, but like
wrestling in California, but not in Japan.
Is like, something must have happened. There must be a disconnect, whether it's money, whether it's like who wants who, because why would she go there and then all of a sudden Trinity goes to Impact? I think getting her reps in Impact is the right move for her, but like, you would just what would happen if she just came to AEW?
Yeah,
instead,
I mean,
right?
I think with New Japan and Stardom, I think they can't afford them. I don't think there's a big enough return from, like, I think they got a little bump from Mercedes being on these shows, but I don't think it's Jericho Kenny level of business that she's brought to them. And she probably has a bit of a price tag on her. Naomi's is going to be similar. And unfortunately, like, Trinity isn't the star doesn't have the star power as Mercedes Moné. She's great. She's good. She had a long run in WWE, but I don't think you're going to see a New Japan fork out money for Trinity. And therefore, really, it's AEW or Impact. I don't know why AEW weren't interested. I think Trinity would absolutely help their division. Her and Jade would be more interesting to me than Taya Valkyrie.
Right.
You know,
but see, well, then is that what they offered her? Is that something, like, we don't know, but like, is that why she didn't show up? Because it's like, well, you're just making me another body that you're not going to book properly, and I'm just going to be chilling, floating around on Rampage and Dark Elevation. Like, maybe that's something she just didn't want.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I think Impact's women's division is great. We went to the show recently. Diana Perazzo and Jordan Grace had a hell of a match. Got Masha Slamovich there as well. You've got some good women there that she can work with, and is immediately going to be put like right at the top of the card. And Impact is a place you can have your little gap year and then go home to WWE.
I think,
and they're going to be like, okay. Whereas maybe, especially after the stuff with Regal, I can see Tony being a little bit more hesitant with signing people. And I think a lot of people do, me and myself included, do eventually see Sasha and Naomi back in WWE. And I wonder, like, whether Tony Khan's like, well, I don't really want to invest in you if you're going to be trying to get out and emotionally blackmail me. Oh, my husband's over there. My son. I've just got to watch my son train on a Tuesday. I've got to be there for my son.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I think Impact maybe the right move for her.
Yeah, I imagine she goes back eventually. Yeah. It's unfortunate because the bloodline thing, she would fit in great. Like, sure. she's a bargaining chip. Like, Roman could, get involved and like be like, where's your wife or something like that.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know. But like, definitely see her going back. Definitely see Mercedes at this point going back. It's unfortunate because you would imagine Mercedes versus Jamie Hayter be a huge match to do at like an All In or a Forbidden Door or something like that. It potentially still could happen, but I do ultimately see her going back.
I wonder with the Saturday show, like if they are going to put a lot behind it, whether that is something that would entice a Mercedes. Be like, you know, you have
she was there, she was watching her.
Yeah, you have her come in and be like, you tune in on Saturdays, you get Punk, Jericho, Sasha Banks.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant Sasha going to Impact.
No. I mean, like, if that's the thing, like,
okay.
They're holding off a bit, and it's like, you're going to be one of the franchise players on this show, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like I loved that Stardom show. They looked awesome. And the match was great with Mayu. But I'm just like, was it kind of a bad timing for this thing? I think it wasn't as big of a deal as we kind of thought it would be. Like from the beginning, it was a bit of a messy, right?
She only had this title for one match, pretty much, didn't she?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Also, listen to our Mando review out on the Patreon. She really wasn't featured in that season as much either.
No.
She's just there. She shoots her gun like once or twice, and that's about it. She doesn't really talk.
I think she had one line in the whole thing.
Yeah, so it's like a step down. No tornado DDTs on Boba Fett.
No, unfortunately not. But also on the positive note, no Boba Fett on this season.
Yeah, briefly. I think.
Was he?
It's like for a moment. I don't know. Yeah. Someone was New Zealand there.
They've announced the slate of Dark Side of the Ring episodes for season 4.
Yes, which sounds awesome. I really love this show. I love how non-wrestling fans, like casual fans, love this show. Even non-wrestling, because it's documentary style. Yeah. It's like 40 minutes, and you get a whole like intro on something pretty wild and crazy. And my favorite was to recommend the North Korea episode, the Collision North Korea episode, which. I hate to reveal my cards here, but I listened to Ric Flair on Joe Rogan the other day. Would recommend that listen, because even though he's Ric Flair for a lot of it and says some Ric Flair things, he also says a lot of other things that are like opening and goes into more discussion on the Collision in Korea thing, which he blows Joe Rogan's mind. Joe Rogan's like, sorry, you did what? You went to like that? You shouldn't have done that. And like, really interesting listen. That is still my favorite episode of Dark Side of the Ring. And I've recommended that to so many non-wrestling fans who've gotten back to me. It's just
hilarious.
Yeah, and they're like, whoa, this was amazing. Yeah. And then they went and like watched like everything. So I had some people who were like non-fans being like, well, now I know everything about Macho Man and Elizabeth, and now I know about the screw job. So Dark Side of the Ring is fantastic. And unfortunately, it's like, not unfortunately, but like when they start doing things on, you know, not saying what they did was wrong about bashing Ric Flair, rightfully so and all that, but like, the more you go do things like that, like, is more things going to uncover on other people? Like, are we going to start canceling some other things? Because the list of the episodes come out here, and one of them, I'll go through the list, but the first one here, it's not the first episode, but Chris Candido and Tammy Sitch, right?
Yeah.
Like, is there going to be some conversations brought up about certain wrestlers and things like, I don't know. There's stories out there, and will this show just keep digging at these things where eventually people are going to be like, hey, don't go on this show because...
Which is because JR was very critical about the last season.
But he was on the past season.
But he's back on this one. So like a few people who were like, because like, I mean, JR's like fallen out with Ric Flair, right? And a lot of it was over this stuff. So, but he's coming back.
Wow.
Yeah, I got to say, looking at the list of things, I don't know a lot about any of these. You know, previous seasons where it's like, as you said, Macho Man Elizabeth or the Montreal Screwjob. It's like, I kind of know everything there is. This one, a lot of this is going to be very new to me.
Yeah, okay, so Abdullah the Butcher, which can't wait. Definitely, there's lots of stories, and he was, what was he? I can't even remember. See, I can't even remember what the whole thing behind his thing, but great. You know, you're going to see people with getting a fork in the forehead in that episode. Adrian Adonis, don't know too much about that as well. Bash at the Beach 2000.
What was that?
This is what Vince Russo, basically the downfall of WCW. Like, this is
this
the official,
like the reset when they
Just they shit the
They
bed.
drop all the titles again, or
Is this it? Yeah.
I don't know. I know that was on a Nitro, but was that around this time?
I'm sorry.
I mean,
born
I
in
know
91.
WCW 2000 was a shit show, but yeah, I don't know what's dark about that.
It'd be pretty great. Bam Bam Bigelow.
Again, what's dark about?
I don't know dark. I mean, I'm sure maybe had his vices and stuff like that, but super interested to
Yeah.
see a little doc on him. Again, Chris Candido and Tammy. So Sonny there.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll be a very
Chris
depressing.
Candido died young, didn't he?
Yeah, really, really depressing there. Doink the Clown.
Yeah, well,
Sorry, this means Matt Bourne, right? Not just the character Doink.
I have no idea. Like, what's why? What's dark about Doink?
Well, he turned dark.
Well, he turns dark. Yeah.
When this
We're gonna have to re-release.
we will put out for free our best match ever, April Fools from a few years ago with Jordan Goodman, where we did a best match ever Doink the Clown. Maybe in honor, we'll put that out for them. But the Graham family.
Okay.
I don't know who the Grahams are.
Oh,
like Billy Graham?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Junkyard Dog.
Okay.
See, like, I know of Junkyard Dog. I had a Junkyard Dog rubber figure when I was a kid, but don't know the dark side of the Junkyard Dog. Magnum TA, definitely interested in this one. We've done some deep dives on some old matches, and
so he was meant to be like Hogan.
he was next to be the big
and then
deal.
had a car accident, was it?
Yeah. Can't wait for this one. And then
boy.
the main event. Does this one get a 2-parter, a 3-parter, possibly a 4-parter? Marty Jannetty.
Yes.
And that's kind of where I'm also like, hey.
I mean, that's one I know more about, but I'm sure we're going to have, a lot of, this is going to be eye-opening to a lot of people who maybe don't know.
See, like.
How he murdered someone and wants to fuck his daughter.
Oh, stop.
It's going to be great.
This one's going to be crazy. I mean, if you follow Marty Jannetty's Facebook post, he's still going off about weird shit. But that's the thing. Like, he's got to talk about Shawn Michaels on this episode.
Yep.
You got to talk about Shawn Michaels probably on that Sunny episode.
Yep.
Not going to be good things.
No.
Probably.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this season mainly because I don't know much about any. I'm surprised that we still haven't had a China episode. I don't think, have we?
No, we haven't.
There's a bigger mission there of, a certain Vince McMahon, who you would think, but like, I get it. Like, they're not going to have anyone want to talk about him.
Yeah.
They don't want to burn that bridge, I guess. But I'm interested in this season. Starts May 30th. Starts come out. So yeah, it's going to be eye-opening for me. A lot of these ones.
I have the list here, and PW Insider is also saying that they're possibly working on a Mike Awesome episode and a Sandman episode, which may be like for like future seasons or something like that.
Nice.
So, yeah, it looks like maybe they're going towards like documenting like each wrestler, and like or like a group of wrestlers or a family or something, or an incident, right? But this one features a lot of just single people, like actual about people.
Yeah, the only event is the WCW one, right?
Yeah. Is there any that you're like, oh, I don't see one on that? Because Vince obviously is a whole documentaries and shit on, but like
China,
there's sad things and there's a lot of bad things in wrestling, but
there is, I mean, there's just numerous wrestlers who died young, right?
Yeah.
Like your Tests and your Crash Hollies and stuff like that. Maybe, I don't know. Like it's there's loads. There's seasons and seasons worth of this.
Well, there's now like Dark Side of the 90s, Dark Side of, all this other stuff, which is pretty crazy. I know Cino's a big fan of those. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this show. I love this show.
They announced the lineup for Best of the Super Juniors. I don't think we'll spend too much time on this. But
because there's no Gringo Loco in it.
There's no Gringo Loco, but you do have Speedball in the mix, which sounds pretty fun. Kushida's in there. Leo Rush is in there. So I think we're going to... This is one I'm going to kind of cherry pick a little, I think. But I think looking at the lineup, there's some fresh people there as well.
I hope this is the bridge where Speedball can just work in New Japan now.
Yeah,
it's like, man, there's so many great matches. I want to see him not just in the Super Junior level, but like a few in there. One side looks better than the other here, but I always cherry pick the best of the Super Juniors. It's always a fun time.
Yeah, so I mean the A block here looks pretty great. You've got like Kushida, Lio Rush, Hiromu, Mike Bailey, Taiji Ishimori, and TJP, who are all standouts in that block. You've also got Sho and Doki and Taguchi.
Taguchi, always love seeing Taguchi. I did ask Gringo Loco. I was like, "Oh, why aren't you in the Best of Super Juniors? You should win the whole thing." And he said it's something to do with AAA because there's no other AAA people. Of course, like, where's your Commanders and Vikingos? And like, you'd figure like some of the Lucha guys, right? So that's possibly the reasoning there. But I still will cherry pick through the Best of the Super Juniors. It's always a fun watch. But I feel like Best of the Super Juniors peaked at Will Ospreay, Shingo, and we'll never fully get to that like huge storyline and match that is just untouchable, really.
Yeah, like that A block does look good.
Yeah, it does.
I'm pretty excited for that.
We will definitely be talking about it through when that eventually happens.
And speaking of Ospreay, he made some comments recently that his I think contract with New Japan is coming to an end in February. And he said that he plans on re-signing with the company.
Hey.
Obviously this is wrestlers talking, so never take them completely at their word, but he has kind of said on numerous occasions how he doesn't have interest in moving to the United States. Staying with New Japan does leave that kind of door open a little bit with AEW with their relationship. But what do you think of this? Like,
I think he's awesome, and I hope we see him at Forbidden Door. We're going to Forbidden Door here in Toronto, and I'm really praying that we get Kenny Ospreay too. Selfishly, and I think he's the man over there right now. So like, if he stays and shows commitment to them, they'll make him like the guy there, as he is a star there. He's pretty big there. He's a draw there. So like, if you're happy there and you got your buddies there, your empire thing going on, like, yeah, why wouldn't you stay there for a few more years and still be able to make some big checks, working some big TV time over in AEW? Like, just having minimal appearances in AEW the past year or two, like, raises your stock, right? We see once you get on TV and prove yourself, like, that's how you gain fans. And him doing a little bit of both is probably the right thing. What would he do if he went? He's going to end up in WWE in like, minus 10 years. But like, what would he do if he went there now? What would he do in AEW if he just went there right away? He'd be wrestling Jay White on Rampage? Like, no, he wouldn't. So I think right now, staying there, being the guy there, is maybe the mistake Jay White didn't make.
I think there's for him, you see this a lot in wrestling in general, where someone gets kind of their fake reign almost.
Yeah.
Like they get given the title maybe a little early before it's really solidified as a proper title reign. And obviously he had his right before the pandemic, held the title very briefly, and then moved back to the UK.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely, he wants that, being the ace of the company, he's got to beat Okada for the title, like, as a babyface.
Right.
I think. And he's got to beat Kenny on the big stage as well. Like, they're two big things he's got to still do in New Japan, in my opinion. But these contracts can be quite long with them as well. And when he's talking about these injuries mounting up and stuff, you wonder how long his career could potentially be. And, like, how long will that window be open for a WWE or a AEW full time at the pace he's going?
Yeah, he'll turn AJ Styles in a few years. Minus 5 years. He'll slow his pace down and go very WWE style and be safe and work that style and fit in perfectly.
And he's good enough that can make that work.
Oh, he will. Yeah, absolutely. I definitely see that. So as a fan, this guy gains my respect more and more. To be honest, like, the past few years has all been this guy, and I don't take any of the criticism. Well, it's just flippy shit. Like, this dude doesn't do that shit for years. Yeah, he's come such a long, long way, and I know he can come off as a bit of a jerk online to some people, but I think also that's just wrestling, and he knows how to work it a little bit, and he's getting better at that as well. His Twitter game's getting a little better, I think. But I love this guy wrestling, and I want to see him wrestle this style for a few more years. So I am excited to see that. And the dream rematches are really where it's at. But there's still a lot, like, I don't know where New Japan needs him more than he needs New Japan, really, because, like,
yeah, I think so.
Who else?
So he's probably going to get a nice contract from them.
He's gonna get us. He lives there now. He's got a place. He lives there. So
hopefully they'll figure out something for the Wembley show that he can do.
But Will, you got to listen to Kenny, man. You got to learn how to speak Japanese, even a little bit. A little bit, man. Even one or two things can go such a long way.
Yeah,
Kenny's right.
He's been there long enough.
Yeah,
like he lives there, no? Like he should. He should be learning the language.
I'm not saying you got to learn how to read, but saying things can go such a long way.
Well, that's it. Is there anything else that comes to mind? We've gone pretty long today.
Yeah.
But, we went all over the place.
Yeah, arigato gozaimasu.
Yeah,
I can
exactly.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to us ramble on about some wrestling. The wrestling, the graphs just never stop. Next week with Backlash, we'll go live Sunday at some point, probably 2 p.m., to talk all about it. So that'll be something for us to talk about on Sunday. This Tuesday, me and Cena will be live for Up Next over on the Post Wrestling feed. And tune in on Wednesday for Rewind to Dynamite for a little teaser, a little announcement possibly over there with John and Way. Lots of stuff over on the Patreon as well. So the podcasts never stop here, and we can't create this content without you guys listening. So thank you very much. We appreciate you guys listening. Every RT, every nice review on Apple Podcasts, whatever app you use, give us a nice little review. 5 stars in the Tokyo Dome. We appreciate you. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, at PoisonRanaPod. I see you people on Instagram. Go follow us. We only have 300 followers.
What?
Our old one, we had like 1,000. What happened?
10,000 subscribers to our old Instagram.
No, we had...
I know, 10 to 20,000 followers on Instagram.
Well, no, we had like 1,000. But like now we only have 300 on Instagram. So tell your friends to follow us on Instagram.
Yep. Do it.
Because you
right
should.
now. Pick up your phone, text them.
Pick up your phone.
At PoisonRanaPod.
Yeah. Thank you guys. I myself, Twitter, Instagram, I'm at the Bray D.
And you can find me at Davie Portman.
And I guess that's it. I guess that's all. We didn't talk about Adam Cole potentially being Progress champion, but I guess that's for another time. Huh. Thanks, guys. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And go, Leafs. Go.
Ahoy!